And it goes a little something like
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, hi, my name is Upendanice Barata and I'm so grateful to have you click on this video. I know I've been away for so long, but this video should be a good explanation as to where I have been. Sorry, I've been having a flu lately. So yeah, I've been quite busy. I've been working. Sounds so weird to say that. I've been working but not earning any sort of money, so I'm still broke. So yeah, in case you don't know, of course I don't think anyone knows apart from my friends who might or might not be watching this video. I completed 4th year in January this year. I just completed my 4th year exams and I went for my teaching practice beginning of May. I was to go for teaching practice last year May after my 3rd year, yeah, but I couldn't because of COVID. But then again, it was postponed as post attachment. That means after I complete my studies. So I did online learning 4.1, 4.2 I did online learning, and then we came and did 4.2 exams in school. So after that, we had like a break for some time, and then we went for our teaching practice in May, yeah. So currently the school that I'm teaching at is an academy. It's a private school. It's a mixed day and girls boarding. That means that only girls are allowed to board, but it's your choice whether you want to be a day scholar or a boarder. Now the population of this school haijafika at 40, honestly. Is that weird? Haijafika 40, and I only teach Form 1 and Form 2 classes. Yeah, I teach Form 1 and Form 2. I teach English literature, by the way. So my Form 1 class, on a good day, I have like a total of 11 students, and on a not so good day, it's like 8 or 6 students. And then my Form 2 class, how many? They're around 9. 1 boy transferred, so we only have like 8 girls and 1 boy. Yeah, I don't teach Form 3, and this year we don't have Form 4s because it's 3rd term. Actually, this is 3rd term. So the largest population in my school, you know, in Kenya we have like very many ethnicities. We have the Indians, we have the Chinese, we have the Europeans, we have the Somalis, we have the South Sudanese, we have Kenyans, and the many other tribes. Sorry, I've been having a flu. So the largest population in my school is the South Sudanese population, Wasudi in short, as we call them. So that's the biggest population, and I've been teaching for I think 1 month. This is June, and a few weeks, and the term is almost coming to an end in July, by July 16th. And before it comes to an end, I just wanted to share my experience teaching, and I have them written down. See, this is what, but a part of it, this side only. The rest are just like other video ideas that I was breaking down. So my first point would be that I feel very old. To be honest, I feel so old in that, let me explain. Yeah, I'm only 21. I only turned 21 this year, January. And you see, being a teacher, your students tend to respect you a lot, and it's not something I'm used to. It's something that has taken me time, and I don't think I'm used to it fully yet, in that students address me as an adult. and that makes me feel very old, being called teacher, teacher, teacher this, excuse me, teacher this, excuse me, Madam Baraza. I'm not used to that. Even my principal calls me Madam Barasa, and I'm like, okay, just call me nice or Pendo, just call me that. This whole Madam Barasa thing is making me feel very old, and I think the reason could be is because my mom has been a teacher for 18 years, but she resigned I think back in 2014, and people would call her Madam Barasa or Mrs. Barasa. And my father also taught for 21 years and resigned in 2013, started some other things. People called him Mr. Barasa. Yeah? So it's like, I feel like I see myself in my parents because of the name they used to address me. And you know how our teachers back in high school would like orders around, ati we kuja hapa, enda form 1, wambie sijui so and so akulete kitabu na unilete hapa. You remember how we were being ordered around? That is what is happening now. I'm not used to do that. I remember I was taking books to Form 1 and Form 2 class. So because Form 1 class was near, I went there first. So I met this Form 2 student who was in the Form 1 class. And she saw me going to their class. Akasema, excuse me, teacher, let me help you carry those books to our class because I'm going there. Whew, that felt... I'm not used to that kind of respect. Normally I would rather just do it by myself than even call a student to do it for me. So that was something to get used to, more of a culture shock. I wouldn't say a culture shock, but it's something that I'm still getting used to. Second point, I feel like I know everything. Now, how do I know everything? You know, in high school, sometimes some students will just find English very difficult. Like there would be these things like what are determiners, sijui, adjectives, sijui of what, sijui nini nini. They would sound so hard when you are still in high school. But right now, I don't think there's anything in English as far as the Kenyan syllabus is concerned in Form 1 and Form 2, because those are the classes I teach. I have never found anything difficult. And I remember I was so scared before I started my teaching practice. That week 2 prior, my anxiety was just building up day by day by day. It was like a countdown, honestly. I remember telling my friends, okay, I'm so nervous. Now, I was rehearsing my parade speech, my first speech, over and over again in my head. Like that whole month, the whole month before May, what was the month? March, no, April. Every day or anytime I would just find myself pretending actually there's a whole parade in front of me of students and I'm talking, and I practiced that speech. I would stand in front of them and say, good morning school, my name is Kenyan Barasa, I'm here for my teaching practice. I'll be teaching Form 1 and Form 2 English literature. I was so nervous, but when I got there, I don't think at any instance there's a point where a student has asked me a question and I couldn't answer. And normally I just say these things like, sasa hawa wanafunzi wanaanguka nini, you know? Like, I'm like, these things are so easy. I never thought I would be that teacher who knew everything, but the knowledge acquired in campus is very broad for a teacher. Whatever we are taught in campus is not the same thing you're going to teach in class. It's so weird. We have like very different terms to refer to something. Like parts of speech are like nouns, you know, adjectives, adverbs. But in campus, when you're taught, you're not told these are called parts of speech. It's like a whole different thing. So when you come to class, you have to adjust to the level of the students and speak their language. There are terms I can't use in class because of their level. So that is something that makes me feel very intelligent, and I'm quite happy about that particular word. So another point, which is my third point, is rudeness. So, like I mentioned, the majority of the population in my school is the South Sudanese students, and then, you know, Kenyan. They're Kenyan, yes, but the ethnicity is South Sudanese. So I remember before I went for my first class, I was really shaking, honestly. Vile nilikuwa nafika hivi kwa mlango, I was very shaking. I was very shaky, my bad. And the teachers told me that, you know, we have a large population of the South Sudanese and they tend to be very rude, and many of them are boys. So in the Form 1 class, we only have 3 girls who are like Kenyan, daughters of the soil, you know, and then the rest of like the 8 students are South Sudanese, majority being the boys, and then I have like 3 South Sudanese girls. So me stepping into class and their attitude on their faces, especially one girl I remember, really scared me off. Like she was making like funny faces. I was like, oh, she doesn't like me already. She was like, Nani, what are you doing here? You know, and I was still new, so it was very weird. And I remember going to that class that day, I was shaky. I didn't even know where to start, because the first week we didn't really do anything. It was more of opening and revision, so I never stepped into class. So the second week is when I got into class. But I just figured it out that if I make friends with them and earn their respect, then it's all good. I've never been shown any form of disrespect, except once there was this student, actually it was recently, that was a South Sudanese, and I don't know, he was sent home for school fees, and he came to class. He was causing commotion for almost 5 minutes, and I was like, when you're done, can you please leave, we continue with our class. And then akasema, I don't even want to see you. Imagine, this is a student. Nikwambia ati nini, hebu rudi hapa, can you apologize, mimi si rika yako, can you apologize? Akasema teacher sorry, and he went. So I was so offended, because I don't think anyone has ever talked back to me like that. So I was very offended. But the current, like the class I have, we've never had the issue again. I think that was the only instance, and maybe it's because he was very frustrated. I just don't know. But I was not prepared actually to handle such characters in class. Yeah. So my 4th point would be, what goes around comes back around. What do I mean by this? Yeah. You remember how we used to treat our teachers in school? Like how we'd like sengenya our teachers and say, mama sijui anakwangaje, huyu baba mbona anakuja class mapema hivi, angetuacha. You know how we used to treat our teachers and talk about them and boo them? I've never experienced booing, honestly, but you know the sort of characters I'm talking about. It's the same thing that I kinda experience right now. Sometimes I would go to class and I would feel like the students would give me a vibe that but they like my classes. This is not to say that I'm a boring teacher. I'm not a boring teacher. It's just that sometimes, especially on Mondays, especially when you have the early morning classes or classes after lunch or before lunch, when they're very hungry or when they're very full, or in the morning after the weekend, this is on a Monday. Sometimes the mood is very off, and you know the Nakuru weather with the cold. Sometimes you just feel like you'd go to class and talk and people are not responding. They are not. You have to be now start shouting and forcing them to speak, and they just start saying things that are not, you know, not even related. But there are days you'd go to class and feel like the students are very active, they even overwhelm you, they are very chap, they're happy, they're very participative in the class. So yeah, it's not, I remember my first class, I went to that class before I knew everyone in the class. And you know, when you meet a person for the first time, you always have this whole new personality to you before you actually get used to them and now be normal and comfortable. So I went to that class, I taught, I was just speaking English throughout, and I was told that the students are very weak, and I mean it's like, I think the mean of that school in the past 5 years, wakipita sana ni D minor, like the overall mean in KCSE, but severally they get an E. So you can imagine the level of the type of students I'm dealing with. It's not students wenye utaenda class uanze kuongea kizungu mingi or go very fast. The students you have to handle like bit by bit. So when I left that class, hata sikuwa nimeenda mbali, and students said, unaye atatuwa na kizungu. And in class, when I entered the class first day, you know how would sengenya our teachers chini ya loka, mama naye amevaje leo, you know. I could hear them speaking. I could not exactly tell what they were saying, but I knew it was about me. So yeah, what goes around comes back around. And then the next one was motivation to teach. Honestly, there are days where I felt like I don't want to go to school. Because, you know, as a teacher, you remember how teachers would come to class and tell us, ati class mnakwanga sijui aje, you're very rude, I'm not happy coming to teach in this class, but from threes or this stream I'm very good, I enjoy classes in that class. I never knew how practical that is, because I felt maybe our teachers just say that kutufanya to, you know, to participate in their class, to make to feel guilty. But actually, yes, I have a class, like, okay, I'm just hoping my students or teachers never find this. But the Form 1 class, many teachers, in fact all teachers, hate teaching that class, simply because their character is not motivating, their behavior, whatever. So every time any teacher or myself has a double lesson in Form 1, we are always like, oh my god, not again, not today. Like, you just feel like they're very low. But Form 2 class is the best class, honestly. It has like 8 girls and only 1 boy. So that class is the best. Even if you give them work, now wambia, I want the books tomorrow morning, ukifika hivi staff room, you'll find her books. But Form 1s, ukisahau, they will never bring those books. They will never. And they never do your work, whether you're a soft teacher or a hard teacher. But Form 2s, you don't have to worry about their concentration. Even if you're not there, you don't have to worry about them making noise. They even made a pact of speaking English peke yake, hakuna kuongea Kiswahili. I remember this time I asked a question and I told them, kama unashindwa ku explain in English, say it in Kiswahili. And then this girl was like, can I speak in Kiswahili? The whole class was like, no, speak in English. So it was very weird. Form 2s are very motivated, even when most of them can't, you know, grasp anything in class. They push themselves. You can see how much they're struggling to get there. Now, I think my final point would be different personalities. I was very worried that, you know, in psychology back in campus, we are told as a teacher, when you go to class, you're supposed to know each student by name, how they behave, their characters, even get to know maybe their background, which could affect their participation or learning in class. So I honestly thought that this would take me a long time, like a whole term. But surprisingly, the first week, the first day I stepped into that Form 1 class, because that was my first class to teach, I could tell all students by their names and I knew their characters. By the time I was going back to the staff room, I told the teachers, so and so is a lazy student, so and so is a very active student, so and so has this and this. They were like, you're very fast to note that, because they did not tell me beforehand that you watch out or look out for this student and that student. By the first lesson, I could already tell. So this is something that was very weird, because I have never been around so many personalities like that, where there's these people who really don't get anything in class. You really have to take them bit by bit, and there are students who you'd explain 1,000 times and they will not get it. We have the quiet ones, we have the hyper ones that you have to always tell, can you shut up, raise your hand. We have the ones that just don't like you and they have this whole attitude to them. We have those ones that really like you and they always want to ask questions. So this was fun, actually. So I think I've come to the end. I have like a whole series of this teaching practice experience. I would want to share what I liked about teaching. I would like to share what I hated and what I learned being a teacher at 21 years old. And I'm really hoping that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, just leave a comment. If you've been a teacher before, tell me your experience in the comment section. I actually enjoy teaching. I just discovered that recently. So share your experience. Tell us whether you still want to be a teacher in future or not, and how you think about it. So subscribe, leave a comment, and share to your friends and family. Bye.